Somebody else was like, she says, Germans smoke grass like crazy. So whatever you want to stick in there, right? Just like whatever you want to stick in your head and make it stuff up. It's crazy. So, all right, so we'll leave that up there. So make sure you can go from top to bottom, bottom to top, whatever. And, yeah.
How do you set in corn? Oh,
Your head. Alrighty, next up, right on here. Now we're going to do like each layer and talk about each layer and why it's sort of important, whatever. So here we go. So here's my epidermis from top to bottom. Stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, yada all the way through. So on the skin model, you can actually look at these different layers as well up in lab. Some are thick. Like my stratum corneum, it's the thickest. We're going to talk about that. It's probably a good thing to know. I'll ask you which one's the thickest of those 5 layers. It's the corneum. What color do you think my stratum lucidum is? It's clear. It's a clear layer, right? My stratum lucidum is sort of clear. Stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum. So we'll talk about each layer and so like which cells we find there, what's sort of like unique about that. Is your skin dead or alive?
Depends on the layer, right?
Depends on the layer, right? So part of your skin is dead, the other part is alive. But you can like scrape cells off, right? It's like really hard sort of thing. Yeah, those are dead on the surface, but underneath those, they're alive. So we'll talk about each layer, like what's sort of important. All right, so we're going to do the bottom layer first. That's stratum basale, or your stratum germinativum. I don't really care about that it's a single row of cuboidal or whatever. I don't care about that. Down here at the bottom, it says we have melanocytes, Langerhans cells, Merkel cells, and yada in my basal layer. So all the cell types we spoke about earlier, right? Keratinocytes, melanocytes, Langerhans cells, whatever, they're found in the bottom layer. So we're going to go with germinativum has all. Those are all my cell types. Okay. That's what's sort of unique about that layer. It has all the cell types. That's all we're going to say about that one. And up next would be my stratum spinosum, right? It says 8 to 10 layers of keratinocytes. Cells start flattening. Okay, so really I have keratinocytes. So if you remember, we said those little keratinocytes at the bottom, they like to migrate towards the surface to here. So my spinosum has like 8 to 10 layers of keratinocytes. We're going to go with that one. 8 to 10 layers of my keratinocytes. And next layer, my stratum granulosum. What's unique about that one? Yeah, so I have 3 to 5 layers of flatter keratinocytes. Don't care about that one. Lipid-rich water coloring. Don't worry about that. Hey, the bottom marks the transition between the metabolically active layer and the dead cells of the more superficial stratus. What's it mean? That's my cutoff point, right? So anything below my stratum granulosum is alive or dead? Alive. Alive. Anything above it is dead. So that's my cutoff point between the cells that are alive, the ones that are metabolically active, they're producing that whole thing, right? Catabolic, anabolic, that's metabolism, right? So metabolically active, below, dead, above. Someone was saying, well, what's the granulosum in itself? Because it's layers, right? It's a mixture. Some are dead, some are alive, whatever, but that's my cutoff point. So anything below that, alive, anything above it, dead. Granulosum, it's mixed. Because they go from dead to alive during that layer.
That's where they change.
That's where they change, right? So right when they start to enter into there, then they start to die off. So you're going to find some that are still alive, some that are dead. It's a transitional area between the two.
Is dead still vascular? So if I cut myself, it wouldn't bleed and dead?
Well, what you're doing when you're cutting yourself, you're cutting through those layers. You have to cut into the blood vessels down here. That skin's not that thick. Yeah, it's really, pretty thin. So, yeah. So yeah, you could just cut that layer. Any of those layers wouldn't bleed. You have to cut a artery or a vein
That's the best way to do it, huh?
Harder veins bleeding.
Yes.
Yeah, typically. Works out pretty well usually. What else we have? Stratum lucidum. What's unique about that? Thick skin only. Thick skin only. So, did I find my stratum lucidum in my hand?
Yeah.
Palms of my hand? What about my scalp?
No.
No. Okay, so make sure you do like little tricky things like that you can do there. So, stratum lucidum's only in thick skin. Only thick skin. In the clear, dead keratinocytes. And my last layer, stratum corneum. It says up to 30 layers. That's pretty thick, right? 30 layers. Everything else has, what, 8 to 10 layers at the most. This one has 30, so it's 3 times the thickness as the other ones. So those are continuously shed, like you do this sort of thing, you're shedding those off of there, and replaced by the deeper cells. That makes sense. So know that it's the thickest layer, stratum corneum. We should be done soon. Chuck is like almost done, right? Getting pretty close. Those are the layers, yada yada, who cares? We spoke about keratinization, like how that works. It starts in the very bottom layer, like stratum basala, and they migrate towards the surface, gaining more and more keratin as they go through. So that was really the whole idea. It grows in the deepest layer upward, they migrate towards the surface, right? They accumulate more and more keratin, and then they slough off at the very end. So every day when you're showering or doing whatever, putting your clothes on, you're losing cells out there. Good. Okay. Yeah, great picture. There's some like little Merkel cells, right? Monocytes, keratinocytes at the top. Exciting stuff there. In fact, nightmares for you guys, maybe, right? Alrighty, so next up, we're going to do the dermis. So that's my second layer of skin. And make sure you read that correctly too, because I can have layers of my epidermis and layers of skin, right? Be like two different things. What's my second layer of skin?
Dermis.
Dermis. What's my second layer of epidermis?
From the top of the bottom.
One important question. Is it thick skin or thin skin, right? So you gotta make sure you put that in there.
Yeah, thick
So,
skin and thin.
yeah, so okay. Okay, so just throwing that out there for you. So here's my epidermis, here's my dermis. And down below that is my hypodermis down to here. Okay, that's fatty tissue, right? Adipose tissue. That wasn't on your test today, was it? It'll probably be there tomorrow.
Looks like a flower.
Yeah, little epidermis. This is my dense irregular connective tissue to here. And there's 2 regions of my dermis to here. There's like this part up top, or like this little part is here, this little bumps sort of thing. Yeah, so there's my papillary region. So I'll put papillary over here. Because a papilla is like a bump. Okay, so you have like a papilla on your skin or whatever, so a little bumpy through here. And then what about the reticular region? It's down here at the bottom, right next to my adipose. Okay, so those are my 2 areas. So the papillary region's first, right, to the top. Reticular region down below. We'll talk about some of the things we can find in those 2 regions too. Okay, so here's my, it's called my dermal papilla in my papillary region. And the thing that's cool about that is we're going to find that sort of goes with my epidermal ridges, and it's what makes your fingerprints for you. So if you look real close at your hand, you guys have like ever done like fingerprints before? Sort of thing? Like downtown? Something like Right, so if you look real close, because sometimes you can have like loops and swirls, and then other times they look different, right? You have like really crazy looking fingerprints, whatever. So all a little bit different, so swirls and loops and things like that, and they're all a little bit different. You look real close, and you can actually see the difference on your fingerprints there. But anyway, so those are made by a couple things. Kind of like how you want to look at this. So up top here, in my epidermis, I have an epidermal ridge. So here's my epidermal ridge, this little area right through here. And then here's another epidermal ridge, like right in here. And then here would be another one over here. And I head over here, it'd be like through here. Okay. So that's what makes the fingerprints. They say that it's the epidermal ridge. If you look on the bottom side of that, like this little area right here, or this little area right there, or this one right here, because they're sort of sandwiched together, right? Like this sits on top of this one. These are known as the dermal papilla. It's in my papillary region, and it's the dermis. They call it the dermal papilla. Okay, dermal, no eyes, or dermal papilla. There. So those go up, my dermal papilla go up, and then the epidermal ridges come down, and they join together, and they sandwich together. So epidermal ridges go down, dermal papilla come up, and they form the fingerprints for your little hands and toes. So anybody have like exactly the same fingerprints?
No.
Toe prints?
No.
How about like identical twins?
Okay,
Yep.
maybe. No. No, they don't.
They even say over those.
DNA.
Yeah, same DNA, but how about like people that have like two different types of DNA? Can you do that?
Yes.
Those are like crazy people, aren't they?
No.
Yeah, it
No.
has to be like 2 eggs, you know, yeah, it's crazy stuff, so.
Oh, you
Actually,
mean
yeah, two
naturally?
different
I thought you meant like through a marrow transfusion.
Anyway, so there's my little epidermal ridges. I have my fingerprints from there. And they talk about tactile receptors. That was actually part of my dermal papilla, that demo. So up in lab, we're going to find, I have like these little guys. They're known as Meissner's corpuscles. Yeah, they have like a little head and tail. Yeah, a little Meissner's corpuscle. They detect very light touch. We're going to see those too. They're called tactile receptors that are on there. Corpuscles of touch, aka Meissner's corpuscle, is for touch. So if somebody just barely touches you, you activate your little Meissner's corpuscle, and sends a signal to your brain says, hey, somebody's touching me, sort of thing. And that one. Yeah, yeah, sort of weird. I don't know. Something like that, yeah. How about free nerve endings? Temperature. Yeah, they detect temperature, hot or cold. Also, I have free nerve endings for pain, okay? And then we have some other ones used for itching and tickling. So all of those things are located like in your dermis, right here. Dermis. Good job. So again, it's like really basic stuff on that. We'll do more, like more specific stuff here too. Okay. So down below, okay, so we got this all found like up towards the surface here, right? Meissner's corpuscle, free nerve endings, all this up here, my papillary region. Now down through here I have different receptors because it's a little bit deeper, and I have things, I've got it here. Yeah, I don't have it on here. But my little Pacinian corpuscle, a little different name to it. We'll see those again a little bit later on too. Pacinian corpuscle. Okay. And we have, I don't know, elastic fibers, pretty close with some adipose cells hanging out in that area as well. Got some nerves, oil glands, sweat glands. They all sort of hang out like down to this area. You know, little ducts come up to the surface. Is that an endocrine or exocrine gland that'll do this with a duct?
No.
Yeah, if it has a duct, it's an exocrine gland. If it doesn't have a duct, then it's an endocrine gland. So both my sebaceous glands and sweat glands are a type of exocrine gland. We'll see those too. We have like a lot of stuff coming up, don't we? Just keep saying like it's coming up, it's coming up. All right, so here are some of the functions of that lower region. It says strength. That's a good one. So it does provide a lot of strength for that skin, right? My skin tissue over there. Also, it allows that skin to stretch. So you can grab your skin and pull it, right? Does it like rip or tear? What about if you're like 98 years old?
Yeah.
You do, yeah. You get like really thin skin when you get older. You can actually like look through like an old person's skin and see like arteries and veins or whatever through there. It's sort of creepy, isn't it? You can like flick them really hard, like bleed.
So you can flip them really late.
Yeah, you can like bruise the crap out of it. Just like a little flick or whatever. You get on a big bruise and it's bleed out and everything. It's like crazy. I know. So, now there's like 2 words here that sound almost exactly the same. Extensibility and elasticity. So what's the difference between